Thank you, and welcome back, everyone, to Freaky Tales Podcast, episode 63. First and foremost, I want to apologize because I've been trying to do a lot more Freaky Tales, especially knowing September's around the corner and October's around the corner. And this is usually the season that I really like to get into this podcast. I should have had a lot more episodes going on, but, you know, when it's only one of me, and when I say only one of me, as far as a host, my co-host Marvelous can't make it all the time. But instead of me canceling, I just choose to go live, choose a topic, open up the phone lines, and let's have a little discussion. Or at least somebody calls in and shares a freaky tale, something that they went through, something that they experienced, or something that's been passed down to them from a family member, or possibly even through some sort of loved one, whether it's a friend, a cousin, or whatnot. But I'm giving you guys my word. Starting September, I'm going to try to go every week. I should say every Friday. I'm going to try to go. A lot of you guys know that I've been performing recently. I will be podcasting live from downtown LA at a show. I'll give you guys a little bit more news on a Sunday. So I just have so much going on right now, but I will definitely try to make every Friday from here on out, at least up until Halloween, something exciting. Even if I just have to open up the phone lines and have you guys go ahead and call in and share your freaky tales. But once again, I want to thank everybody in the live chat, everybody who's tuned in, everybody who liked, comment, subscribed, and everybody who's joking around on the live chat, because that's like the new party line. So once again, Freaky Tales episode 63. And once again, I want to thank all of you guys. I want to thank my team. I want to thank everyone, all of our moderators that have been very patient with me. But here we are. Okay. Now, before I share my topic, I chose one topic today, and I think it's a very, very important topic that we discussed today. Today may be a little bit shorter than usual. Okay. So I may just do an hour, hour and a half. I'm not sure. Our show was usually about 2 hours. But like I said, I have so much going on that I'm like, if you will, I don't have that much time to do all the things that I would like to do. But I didn't want to cancel today, even though I had already promised. But here we go. This was a story that a close friend of mine, and when I say a close friend, this is someone that is very near and dear to me. This individual, sad to say, had a very sick mother, and she was home on hospice. And he had put a baby monitor. Many of you guys know what a baby monitor is. If you guys don't know, it's a little speaker that either goes on the crib, on the side of the crib, and you hold the monitor either in your room or in the living room or wherever you may be. The reason why he put it on there, because anytime that his mom would make noise or call for him, he would always get up and attend to her. And many times she would call him, and his name would be Tim. That's not his actual name, but for the sake of the story, his name is Tim. And what happened was, every so often when she didn't feel well, she would just call him Tim or Timmy. And he would get up and he would go and attend to her. And he did that for like about a month and a half, until sadly to say she ended up passing away. It was a very, very hard time for him. And I was there for him, as most friends should, and I comforted him. I told him I loved him and that I was there for him. He had a very, very hard time, and he understood it because, like myself, my mother had passed away, and it's not something you plan for. So what happened was, he packed up all her stuff, moved everything out, and one day he told me a story that what he decided to do. He decided one day to go back to her house and set up the baby monitor back where the bed was, and set up the monitor in the living room, and he turned them on. Now I asked him, why would you do that? And being so heartbroken, he just said, I just was hoping to hear from my mother again. Now, keep in mind, his mother had already been buried, at least about a month or so. And him, if I could, for lack of better words, use the words, he was just so desperate to hear from her. He was longing to hear from her. He was hurting that he needed to hear from her. And believe me, I've been there. So I just happened to ask the question, did you hear from her? And he said, no, all I heard was static. And I went a step further and I said, if you would have heard from her through that monitor, what would you have asked her? What would you have said? Do you need closure in anything? And he said, I don't know. So my topic for tonight is it possible to communicate with the dead, with the deceased? Is it possible to talk to our loved ones? My other question is, would you want to if it was possible? Would you want to? My third question would be, what would you say? What would you say? Me personally, I don't think I would want to talk to any of my loved ones. I think what was said, I've said already, and I have my closure. I wouldn't know what to ask. I wouldn't know what to say. I would be unprepared to hear something that I wasn't prepared to hear if they told me something. I just don't know. I don't know how I would have responded if they told me something that I wasn't prepared to hear. So I would rather just stay out of that. And for me, my loved ones have already gone. They're past, and that's where they're at in my past. And I pray that hopefully one day I would see them in my future. So now my question to you is it possible to communicate with the dead? I saw a movie that intrigued me many, many years ago, and it was called Houdini. Many of you guys know the great magician Houdini. There's a movie out there. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. You guys maybe can help me. Jamie Lee Curtis is actually the one that plays in Halloween. Is actually his daughter, Tony Curtis. There you go. Tony Curtis plays Houdini, and in the movie, his mother passes, and he spends 30 years trying to communicate not only with her but with the dead, and he comes to find out that it is all pretty much bogus. He never had any type of communication with the other side, not even an experience with the entity, a spirit, or whatnot. But he believed that somehow you can communicate with the dead because he tried it for so many years and he never got anywhere. So my thing is this. From that point on, I began to be very intrigued and I began to look into it. And many of those people that claim that they can contact the dead are called mediums, shamans. Many of them are hold seances, and they say that they can communicate with the dead. Many times they'll just, when you sit down with them, they'll just tell you, yes, we can communicate with the dead. We have to go through this, but this is how much it costs. There's usually a price. I never understood the price thing, but obviously the spirit world is obviously a business as well. I mean, if psychics and palm readers and all these other people can charge, why not somebody that holds a seance? So my question, once again, to you is, when we open up these phone lines, is would you want to talk to a deceased loved one? And what would you ask them? What would you ask them? Do you think it's possible that they can be reached? Another interesting question is this: would they want to be reached? Would they want to be reached? I have friends that, some that were murdered and some that committed suicide. I don't know what I would ask them. And as a matter of fact, I'll be a grown enough man to say I would be afraid to talk to them, to actually even hear their voice again. So I think that's something we don't play around with. I would like for people to call in when we open up the phone lines. And if you believe that somehow you've talked to someone from the other side, I want you to share that story. Or if you're one that believes you can contact, the dead, I would like for you to call in and share and let us know, how is that? And if you have contacted, is it always good news or bad news? I've been told that every time that people go see some of these mediums or some of these channelers that channel the dead, if you will, that it's always good news, that they always say something like, you know what, keep going. I'm watching over you. You're going to be so successful. We're proud of you. You're doing what you're supposed to be. It's always something positive. Not that they're expecting a negative message, but it's always something positive. It's almost like I've known people that have went to go get their palms read, and it's always something positive. Now, if maybe you have a bad reading, or maybe you were part of a seance and something good came out of it, call in and share with us. I think it'll make an interesting conversation. I want to say around the mid-1990s, is when I first started hearing of the New Age movement. When instead of being called mediums, they were called channelers, if you will. They knew how to channel the dead, or they knew how to channel entities or something. And they would invite you to their house, and many of them, many times, would hold their breath, and then they'll pretend like they went under a spell. Then they would get up and their voice would be different. Now, people have told me that that's when supposedly either the dead or an entity of some sort would come in and possess the body of this medium, of this channeler, and use this person's mouth, whether it's male or female, as a mouthpiece to get across their message. Some people have told me that they've been a part of those things, and there was no way that woman could have had that manly voice. Some people say that there was no way that man could have had a woman voice. So I wasn't there. I don't plan on being there. I don't want to be there. But these are the stories that I've been told, that this happened around the mid-1990s. Once again, when I first started hearing about the New Age movement, when I first started hearing about that God is in you, you are God, healing is in you, you need to look nowhere else. In other words, everything is in us already. This is what's told to us by the New Age movement. And I'm sure many of you can call in and add a little bit more to it. But my question is, once again, can the dead be reached? There's so many questions. Do they want to be reached? What would you ask them? What would you ask them? Now, let's just say we open up the phone lines and you call in and say, you know what? I do have loved ones, but I don't want to hear from them. It's okay to call in and share that, because like I said, I have loved ones. I don't think I would want to hear from them. Well, why is that, Tony? I don't know what to expect. I don't know. And that is like the $1 billion question. What's on the other side? Many people say you just go into a deep sleep. Other people say you go into outer darkness. Other people say you cease to exist. Other people say if you're good or if you're bad, or if you're bad always the good, or if you're good always the bad, you go to heaven. If you're bad always the good, you go to hell. Some people don't believe in hell. Some people don't believe in a lake of fire. Some people don't believe that there's torment in the afterlife. Some people believe you just cease to exist. So once again, wherever these people may be, or these spirits may be, would you care to hear from your loved ones? And like I said, I wouldn't. So at this time, Alex, let's go ahead and put that phone number up. And I want anyone who has a question, has a comment, or cares to be a part of tonight's conversation, I'm going to answer this question. So now let's just say you don't want to answer this question, but you have something you want to share, like a story or something that's been passed down to you. Call in and share that story. This is why we open up the phone lines. This is why we have the show, so that you, the listener, can now be a part of this show and share your thoughts on this subject. Once again, is it possible for the dead to be reached? Do you believe it is possible that someone can channel them, or someone could bring them in so that they can speak to you? And would you want to hear them? And what would you ask? And what would you ask? So at this time, I believe we have the number up on the screen. I want to take a lot of calls, so please take advantage. And let's get into the calls. I believe the number's up. And let me go ahead and make sure that the phone is on. Yes, sir. Here it is. Okay. Oh, it's not? Okay. My apologies. Okay, let's see now. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Am I? Okay, good. Okay, so now we are connected. The phone line is up. Once again, if you have a question or a story you want to share, please call in and share with us. Be a part of the show. If not, I'll just continue to talk about the subject at hand. Okay, let's see. All right. Thank you. Okay, caller, go ahead and call back. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Hector from Inglewood, California.
How you doing, Hector from Inglewood? I know you've been tapped in. You hear my question, and my question to you is, do you believe that we can communicate with the dead somehow? And if not, elaborate.
I don't think we can. I think, like, when people do communicate, I think they're communicating with demons.
Okay.
They're, like, mocking your loved one. And I had an experience with that with a family member.
Yes.
And he had, like, very bad experience. And the demons literally, like, they really, like, messed up his life. He actually died from that.
Wow. Let me ask you, was it you that was trying to communicate with someone? Or were you just there?
No, it was a cousin of mine.
Okay. And
it was because my uncle, we're from Sinaloa original.
Yes.
So my uncle got killed because of whatever business he was in. Mm-hmm. So my cousin, which was his son, tried to communicate with him, and he got in communication with some spirits, and then he just fell sick for about a week, and he just passed away. And the doctors they couldn't like diagnose him with any illness. He just went from bad to worse day after day.
Wow. So is it possible? Well, do you believe that it somehow he opened up a door, something came in and
I believe.
Okay, and got him ill, got him sick.
I believe so. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it's in the Bible that the Leviticus 25, verse 5 through 7, where it talks about that, where we're not really supposed to communicate with the dead.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I appreciate you sharing that. And here's my thing. I would like for people to call in and share, if they could, what would they ask this loved one? And can you imagine if they receive an answer that they were not expecting? I just don't know if we're prepared for that.
I don't think we are. I don't think anybody is, really.
No. But thank you, caller. If there's anything else you want to share, you can go ahead and share at this moment.
I'm just a big fan of your music and, your experiences, and, always admire the show, and I'm glad what you're doing. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Have a blessed night.
Have a good one.
Alex, turn the music down just a tad bit, please. A little bit more. Right there's perfect. Okay. So as the phone lines are open, I want to thank that caller for calling in. I appreciate, the story that he shared. If anybody else has any other stories like that, go ahead and call in. Once again, the phone lines are open. We're going to be open for at least about a good hour, depending on the phone calls. If we get a lot of phone calls, then we'll stay a little bit longer. So here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Sergio from Yonkers, New York.
My brother from Yonkers, New York. So the question to you is this: do you believe it is possible to contact the dead?
I believe it is, but is it really your loved ones that are you reaching out for, or is someone else like a demon?
Right. So what you're saying and if
you do be able to reach them, are you gonna hear them, or is it gonna be via someone else that is telling you that's them?
See, and that's the thing that we don't know. We don't know, because we could possibly, if I can use this for an example, we could be opening up a prayer portal where anything could come in and say that they are our loved one. You know, we just don't know.
But you know, honestly, you know, when someone that you love dies, you know, sometimes, you know, you try to do anything to at least, you know, get get some, you know, closure, you know. So, you know, I wouldn't know. It will have to be in that space, you know, where it might take me to want to talk to someone who passed away, you know.
Do you have a loved one? And I'm sure we all do, and it might sound like a silly question, but do you have a loved one that if you can talk to one last time, would you, if you could?
Honestly, I have my cousin. He died, you know, not too long ago, but he died of cancer, you know. And I would just ask him, you know, if I was to ask him, like, how is it? How are you? You know, is it something else out there, or it's nothing? I don't know. You know, something like that. You know, just to see what after you die, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know.
Yes.
So that's the question I would ask him. How is it? How is it out there? Because he was suffering anyways. You know, he didn't want to go through chemo no more. So, you know, he I think he just gave up, you know.
Right.
So I guess he was better off just keep going away.
And you know,
better place.
You know, now let me ask you this. Now, are you prepared if you were to speak to him and he gave you an answer you were not expecting? How could we receive that or cope with that if we were not expecting? I'll give you a perfect example. I had a buddy of mine that had been wanting to talk to his grandmother for the longest time. She's the one that raised him, took care of him. He ended up having a dream, and he would pray, I need to speak to you. I need to talk to you. He used to pray to her. I need you. He ended up having a dream that he was in the desert, and it was really, really, really hot. And there was a bench, like the kind of bench where we would wait for a bus. And he saw it afar off. And as he got closer, his grandmother was right there. And he told her, well, I should say he asked her, grandmother, what are you doing here? It's hot out here. You should be in heaven. And as she said, they never came for me. He had woken up.
Yeah.
And he wrestled with that for a long time. And I just told him it was just a dream. It was just a dream. I guess to him it must have meant something else. See, I just don't think that we are ready to hear, you know, certain things like that.
Yeah, no, I feel you. But curiosity, you know, it's just curiosity.
Yes.
And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we live to die, right?
Well, one day we're all going to slip into eternity. But right now, I love my life, bro. So for me to say we live to die, I know what you mean, but there's still a lot of things for me to do. So I would like to believe that my future is still bright before it's time for me to check out of here. But I know exactly what you mean.
All right, man. Hey, it was good talking to you, Tony.
Absolutely, my brother. You stay blessed out there, and we'll talk soon. Thank you. Okay, we missed a couple of phone calls, so let's go ahead. And once again, this is a very deep and touchy subject, so I know some of you guys may not want to touch on this, but I just think that it is, excuse me. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Chris from Hollywood.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I'm sure you've been paying attention to the topic, and I'm going to ask you the question once again. Do you believe that we are able to communicate with the dead?
To be honest, not really.
Okay.
I think it'll probably be a demon, in my opinion.
Yes. Some people
I
have.
don't think it would be. Yeah, I don't think it would be, my parents or anything, because my dad passed away, and I don't think that would be the case.
Okay.
So,
Now, my next
something
question to you would be that if you could, would you want to?
To be honest, no.
Yeah, same here.
Because I wouldn't even know what to say, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's bigger.
Same here. Man, so some of these stories that I want to share are very, very touchy because these are friends of mine that have told me these stories. I'll share one with you. One of my buddies came home and found his father dead in the living room, face down. He never found out what his father died of. So one day he had a dream. His phone rang and he picked it up, and it was his dad. And his dad was trying to cheer him up, trying to talk to him. And he was crying, and he kept telling him, Dad, I love you, I love you, I love you. And he said, what happened? And his father told him, I died of a heart attack, son. I died of a heart attack, and I just felt all on my face. I'm sorry that you had to find me. And he said, okay. And he asked him this. And these are the things that I think that we are not prepared for. He asked his father, well, Dad, how was heaven? And his father said, who said I was in heaven? And he hung up on him.
Oh, wow.
These are things that I just think that we are not prepared for. So yeah.
Because I wouldn't play with the Ouija board and stuff like that. I think that's pure evil.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, most people do believe that when you open up that portal or that door, that whatever, some type of entity, some type of evil spirit could come in. Most people would just say it's demons. Do we really, really know? I don't know. But it makes a great topic for us to speak about. So.
Hey, let me ask you a question. What would you ask if you had someone you love? Would there be a question you would?
No question. I think, first and foremost, I'm going to say it again, I wouldn't want to reach out to them. But let's just say that I had that sort of dream and I picked up the phone and it was my mother or my father. I wouldn't ask him anything. I would just tell him, I just want to tell you one thing, and that's that I love you. And that's it. Nothing else. I would hang up.
Yeah. Huh.
So. Yeah, so that's what I would do, man.
Okay.
But I appreciate you taking the time, man, and calling in tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, my brother. You have a blessed night.
Bye.
Okay. Once again, thank you for those callers that are calling in. Let's keep these calls. We missed a couple of phone calls. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time and calling in tonight. And once again, I know it's a touchy, heavy subject, but if you feel willing enough to speak about it, to talk about it, call in tonight. And, even if you feel like you wouldn't want to speak to a loved one, whether it's a friend, whether it's a nephew or co-worker, just call in and share, Here we go. Call your name and where are you calling from?
Washington State.
How you doing? How you doing tonight?
Hey, doing great.
Good. I could barely hear you. You sound like muffled.
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. So my question to you is this. Do you believe that we can communicate with the dead? Is it possible?
I believe we can do anything we want if we put our mind to it. And when I say that, I say, if I would want to talk to my own loved ones, my own cousins, my own people, I would tell them right now, did you want your live ones? Did you want your descendants, your kids, your little cousins to want to have that same lifestyle? That's what I would want to ask them.
Okay. And that would be your message or your question to them, or?
That's the vicious lifestyle, the vicious cycle that we're all trying to end.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying, Tony?
Yes.
¿Tú entiendes? Would they want that to continue? That's what I'm saying. Or would they shun away from that question? That's the stuff I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay. So you believe that it is possible. You said if you put your mind to it, it is possible. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you put your mind to it, definitely. They're right there. Just like them demons, like the last caller said, they're right there, ready to slip into our mind.
Right.
We all know that.
Yeah.
But God gave us that one will, the willpower. So I got to tell you this, though, Tony.
Yeah.
God, man, woman, child. And that's it. That's it.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you for calling in. And you know what? You said it's possible, so others say no, but I'm glad we're hearing two different perspectives, bro. And I truly appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us.
Definitely keep it up with the freaky tales. I appreciate first time hearing it. I love you guys up there. And you guys doing a great job, Tony. You guys opening doors, and you know who you are out there. So I appreciate you. All the flowers to you. You deserve more than a bouquet. You deserve a couple palm trees, maybe some I don't know, maybe some sequoias, just like Norbert, you know. Hey.
Thank you, man. Have a blessed night.
Vamos.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's keep it pushing, you guys. These calls are actually interesting. So he believes if you put your mind to it, you can. Other people say no, but I'm glad that we can hear different perspectives on this topic. Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello, caller. Caller, are you there? No.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, he hung up, I guess. We can't even communicate with him. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
What up, Tony? This is Marcelo. I'm from Victoria, Texas.
Marcelo.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you know?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, so I'm going to ask you the same question that I've been asking everyone. Do you believe that it is possible for us to communicate with the dead?
That's a tough one there because before, I guess I switched my mind like a couple of times because I've, you know how you go through your thought process, through it. And at first you kind of think you can, but I think a previous caller said it before, but then that would just be you like talking to, evil forces or demons and stuff like that. Which could at the same time be, the person's dead spirit, because depending on what, if they had, issues going on, they had a tormented mind, that energy also can transform into an actual, demon, and it feeds off of, other bad energy around. So yeah. I say you can, but they're not really the person that you were trying to communicate with at the end of the day.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it is possible that people could be praying or are trying to channel maybe one of their loved ones, but it could be a possibility that they're not talking to a loved one. They're actually talking to something else out there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I believe that as well. I believe that as well. But me personally, could our loved ones be reached? I don't think so. But at the same time, I'm just going to say, I don't know. I've never met anyone that has told me, yeah, I've spoke to my brother. I spoke to my brother, to my mother. I spoke to my cousin. I never met anyone that has said that. But they did say that they did experience some type of presence. Whose presence that was, I don't know. I don't care to find out, to be quite honest with you, because we don't know what doors we are opening and what can come through those doors.
That's right, Tony. Real quick, I got real quick. I'm gonna make it short.
Yes, sir.
So back in 2020, I had an aunt that had passed away from diabetes, and she already had health complications. So when she passed, whatever, we did the funeral, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, I had a picture of her from the memorial and stuff, you know how they put the date or whatnot and a scripture or whatnot. Bro, it's something weird. That picture, I always had it like on in front of my at the top of my drawer. So every morning I would wake up, I would see it. And then one time it wasn't there no more. But I remember that like a couple of days before, it was there. But when I was rushing to go to work, I had moved some stuff and it fell down. I picked it back up. I put it back up on the top of the drawer, the wardrobe. I meant. But then this second time, I guess I tried to go look for it. I'm like, where's my aunt's picture? And I was like, oh, it probably fell down, you know, because it's not on the actual frame. It's just like the picture. So I tried looking for it, bro. I could not find it nowhere in the room. And I'm like, bro, that's like freaking awkward. Like, I'm like, unless somebody came in and pulled it out, or like, why would they? It's just, I don't know what happened to it. It was just kind of, and then her old house, the new people that ended up renting the house and stuff, they would complain to us because I guess we were now being the land. We don't own the place or nothing. We were just being like the landlords or whatever, the middle person. And they kept saying that they would hear like kitchen noises and stuff like that, and you know, like someone cooking or whatever. And then my dad was like, oh sure, they need to go do una limpia or something because I don't know. I don't know, because she was well, I don't want to put her no, like, you know, call her out, nothing like that. I'm just saying she had a lot of problems like a lot of us do and whatnot. So I don't know if I don't even know. I haven't witnessed none of that at that house. So, but yeah, that was it.
Wow.
But it's just weird.
Well, you know what?
So that sometimes makes you question if you can actually communicate with the dead or not, you know.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Thank you for calling in, man, and taking the time and sharing that with us. I greatly appreciate you sharing that. And
for sure. Tony, you keep up the good work, man, and everybody else call in, show your huevotes if you have them.
Exactly.
And I'm out.
Thank you. He said to show them if you have them. So even if you don't have them, just call in and share with us once again. Thank you for that once again. Let's go. The phone lines are now open. Anybody can call in. You want to call in and share a story? You want to just chime in and just share what's on your mind? Go ahead and do that, you guys. So here we go. Call your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Juan from Big Garden.
How you doing?
We're good. How you doing, Tony? Hey.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know what?
Yeah, I just got through, right?
Yes, sir. You're live. You are live with us right now, and I'll present to you the question is, do you believe that it is possible? Is it possible for us to communicate with the dead, and would you want to?
Actually, when I was younger, I thought that you could, but now that I got older and more wise and reading the Bible and stuff like that, I think you communicate with the principalities of the dark, you know, like demons and stuff. You know,
yes.
That's what it is.
Okay. And
yeah, I read a story once about a father, era un padre de la iglesia que se fue con una de esas sites y empezó a preguntarle de su hijo, pues, él y su esposa. So they went to the Middle East to go look for the son. I guess that site lady gave him the coordinates for the desert to go. And they walked for hours. I guess he got sick. So his wife went back to get help, but by the time they came back, he had died. So he put his faith in the wrong, person, I guess. And that was the outcome of him finding his son. He found death,
Yeah. And part of the reason why I present this question is because a lot of times, a lot of us have a certain relative, whether it's a mother with father, brother, sister, nephew, niece, cousin, or maybe just a good friend, and we never got to say our goodbyes, if you will. And I think a lot of times people long to make things right with that loved one. And I think out of desperation to want to close that door, they begin to seek how that can be possible, if it is possible, but don't realize that they can possibly be, he hung up. They could possibly be opening the door to something else. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, Tony. This is Bosley from the Cosmos.
How you doing from the Cosmos?
I'm doing great. It's Bosley, not Bosley. Bosley from, like, the Charlie's Angels Bosley.
Bosley, yes.
You know, like the one who only speaks through the speaker?
Yes. Good. So the question is it possible for us to communicate with the dead? And if we could, would you want to?
Yes, definitely. The mistake people do is to ignore their dreams. They're asking for signs. They finally get the sign, and they reject it.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is, like, for instance, like you were explaining with a friend who, the person who told you that he wanted to know desperately what if his dad died of.
Yes.
And see, here's the thing. When we want our dead loved ones, we want to reach to them because either we're depressed, we're hurting, we're feeling lonely, we want answers. We just want to see them. They're there. The spirits, they have different destinations. Like some of them, most of them are walking around, roaming around here. They don't go. They stay here. They're around us. And some of them, they want to call it staying in limbo. But the ones that stay in limbo are the ones who are suffering, the ones who want to leave so that they're able to reincarnate, but they're making noise and they're upset. They're doing disturbances. And those are the ones that are in limbo. But you can have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in your home, roaming in and out, going through the walls, just like how we saw it on the movie Ghost. And they're quiet about it. They're just like people when they're alive. As long as you don't bother them, you don't invoke them to use them for the wrong thing, they're gonna stay at peace. But the ones who are disturbing, the ones that are making noises, they're seeking some sort of attention, whether they want to help the family they're disturbing or they're seeking help to help them come out of limbo. And it's like the movie where the medium goes in Poltergeist, and she tells Caroline to go to the light,
right?
Because she was like lost in the dark, and she was ignoring the light. So she would tell Caroline to go to the light. That is the same thing. But going back to your question, when we seek an answer, and our loved ones are there. I mean, I can tell you right now, if you want to have a dream with one of your loved ones, you're going to have it. They don't appear to us in our waking life because they have a rule that since we're not used to spirits, they can't go around making their appearance to us, because then they can cause us some sort of a heart attack. They can really scare the shit out of us. So
right.
They're there just waiting for you to call upon them, and just relax and not be afraid. And the best way that they can make their presence known is in a dream. Okay. Why? Because when we're sleeping, we go after traveling. Either we go to them or they come to us. Some of the spirits, the ones that have a mission and they completed their mission, they go on to the next dimension. To be honest with you, they tell us we're on the 3rd dimension. We're only on the 1st, but there's many dimensions. So far, I understand there's 24. And when a spirit who's embodied here, like a human, once they lose their life and they completed their mission, they go and they do a mission someplace else. Other spirits roam around. Other spirits reincarnate. Believe it or not, they reincarnate right away, or sometimes it does take time. There's many stories that you can find on YouTube to confirm that.
Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever spoken to anyone from the other side?
Yes, I have. Actually, my brother's best friend, his name was Saul. He just came back from the service, but he had fallen into a little depression, and he started doing that kind of, it's not a drug, but I don't know if you remember, they were using fragrance sprays, those odorants, those sprays. Mm-hmm. Well, he was alone at his house one time, and he sniffed the out of the fragrance spray, those bathroom sprays. You know which ones I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here in Yuma, it hardly ever rains, and that day, Saul died, drowned in a little puddle that the rain left. And because he sniffed that and it kind of messed up his brain, he started walking outside. He fell on the little puddle and died. So I couldn't make it to his funeral, but I did went after he was buried. But when I went to see him and to leave some flowers and tell him my goodbyes, his soul followed me to the house, and he also followed his family to their house. He didn't want to go. This is one example where his soul stayed in limbo for some time. Mm-hmm. But they told me that after I sought help because I didn't understand the abilities that I had, and I'm still working on them, they can come to me, but I can't go to them. Like, for instance, if you ask me to communicate with them, I can't do it. But they will come to me. Like, for instance, what happened to Vanessa Guillen, the guy that, the other guy that got killed, Gregory Waddell Morales. His spirit came to me. But anyway, let me finish the other story so I don't make this any longer. So Saul followed me to the house, and we started seeing these floating dark shadows. And at the time, I had this big old glass doors, and I was helping my son in the living room on the couch do his homework. And all of a sudden, that shadow kept on passing by, but I was the only one that's seeing it. But my son has the ability too, and he saw it too. And then, and I just waited for my son to tell me if he saw what I saw. I stayed quiet. I didn't want it to scare him. He's like, oh, Mom, did you see that? Somebody's in the back. Yeah. And I said, it's okay. Let's go and check to see. I'm pretty sure this is nothing, but let's go check. So I went to the back, and I had the urge to ask. I said, who are you and what are you doing here? This was in the daytime. Yeah. Well, that's in nighttime. I had a dream with Saul, and he was in the back of my house, where we saw the shadow walk through. The shadow was floating or walking toward the back. And he was like leaned on the wall in the back with his hat. You know, like that shadow with his hat covering all his head, and he's down, and then all of a sudden, he lifts up his head and with his hat on. And I said, oh, Saul, I thought you were dead. And then he says, I want to stay. Is it okay if I stay? And then I said, look, I don't want you to scare my kids. You can stay, but at some point you're going to have to leave. But don't scare my kids. Yeah. So there was no more black shadows. But he stayed in my lot for a long time. And I'm just going to share just one quick experience that he stayed to do for me. And he stayed to protect me. There's no break-ins in this neighborhood, but that day there was a break-in in my house. And me and my kids had just gotten here. I went to pick them up from school. I had just gotten off of work. We were getting off of the car. My kids ran inside the house. And then all of a sudden, when I got off of my car, there was a little trail of papers thrown in the yard that led me all the way to the back of my trailer. And when I finally picked up the last piece, I got up. And when I got up, I was already standing by my bedroom where my window was broken. And then I said, oh my God, what happened? Did a bird crash into my window and broke it? And then I went near it and I saw that my bed was moved. There was dirt on my bed. There was footprints. Oh, they had broken in. I ran back to the front door. I told my kids, get out of the house. Get out, get out. I didn't know if there was still somebody there. And we called the police right away. They got the guys. There was 2 guys that lived on the back of my trailer where Saul, showed me where they had broken into. Yeah.
Bosley, thank you for sharing that.
Here to protect me.
Yes, thank you. So you answered.
He did stay here to protect me, and I wanted to share this with you. Please do not ignore the dreams. They are them. And they don't speak moving their mouth. They speak to you through telepathy. And This is how you can recognize them. And they're not demons. Okay? They're not demons. The ones that are demons are the ones that you practice on the Ouija board. Or the ones that, let me see.
Bosley, we have to go now.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you.
Thank
you. Okay. I know, you know what, she's excited and I love it. And I'm thankful that we have callers like that want to call in and share. So once again, Bosley, thank you for sharing that. Greatly appreciate you. Let's keep these calls calling in and we're going to take a couple more, Alex, and then we should be good. Okay. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to give a call in and once again. And let's see. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Tony? I'm calling from Escondido, California, bro.
How you doing? The question is that I've been asking all the callers. Is it possible for us to communicate with the dead? And if we could, would you want to?
Yeah, look, so I think it is possible, but it's kind of sketchy, you know what I mean? Because you never know what who you're really talking to. But I believe how Homegirl was saying in the last call that they talk to you with dreams, bro. So I have some experiences from that. So a couple of homies, they passed away from OD, right? And the first homie that passed away, he would come to me like in dreams. The first one was him like just freestyling with me, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 and then I'd wake up and be like, damn, I forgot what he was saying, so I could like just put it like in a song, you know, because we did a song and we never got to finish it, you know. And then the second time that he came to me was it was all dark, like in my dream, and then I turn around and it's him. And then I asked him like, bro, I thought you were dead. He's like, I am, bro, like that, you know. And then boom, I wake up. And then the second homie that passed away too, he from OD too as well, you know. So the first dream that I had of him was the same thing too. I'm like in the all blacks area, and then I turn around, and then it's him right there, but he's turning around too, and then he finally turns around, and like he looks dead, bro, like dead, you know, like the face all like dead, you know. And but I wasn't scared of him, you know. And I asked him like, hey, bro, I thought you were dead, fool. And he's like, I am, boy, you know. And then again, I wake up, and then the second time that I had him was and one thing too that my mom always said that people die close to their birthday, which is it's semi true. Like if you look think about it, like people or like if you look into it, you know. But this homie did. He and my other homie too. They both passed away like near their birthdays, you know. So then this one, the second dream of my second homie, he's so in the dream I'm in charge of washing dead bodies, bro, for some reason, bro. And I'm washing my homie's body.
Oh, in the dream.
My dream,
okay.
In my dream. So I'm in charge of washing my friend's body that passed away for some reason. That I'm washing his body, you know. And so like his body's in a tub, like a big tub, filled with water. And basically like I'm just washing off all like the loose dead skin, you know. and he's like he's already stitched up and everything, so all the organs are and everything, you know. Hey, be quiet. And then so it gets late, I guess. It gets late in my shift, in my dream, you know. And then so I have to stay there overnight with the bodies right there, you know. So I tell him, okay. So I tell my other homie that is with me too, in the shift, you know, like in my body, well, in my dream and stuff. So hey, sorry about that. And then I tell him, hey bro, can you stay with me? Like in the night. I mean, like here, you know. And then he's like, yeah, bro. No worries. And then so, and then I wake up to my dead friend's body, like he's just like sitting up, bro, like he's sitting up, like with the stitched up, like naked, bro, like looking gray, you know, like that color that when they take off like all your organs and stuff. Yeah. He's sitting up and like just like sleeping, you know, and then I'm like peeking like with one eye, and then I like kind of shove like my homie that I stay with me, like, hey bro, do you see that? And he's like, yeah man, it's crazy. His organs are out, you know what I mean? Like, how is he still alive? So I tell him, right, and like at 3, we jump out and just turn on the light and like, confront him, you know, or it, you know, and then so we do it, boom, hey, and then we ask my dear friend, hey, what's up, boy? Why you dead? You know, the same question, you know, and then he's like, I am, man, but I mean, I'm still right here, bro, you know. So in my dream that so he tells us that, like, yeah, man, like, but I am, boy, but I'm still here, you know, but like dead already, bro, with like stitched up and everything. So we tell him like, oh well, fuck it, I mean, if you're still alive, then you're like still alive, let's go to all the homies, you know. And then we give him clothes to put on, and then we even tell him, hey bro, let's go play jokes on the homies and shit, you know, like let's go scare him and shit, you know. Yeah. So I mean, from those dreams, bro, like I told mom right away and shit, because like, she's into church and everything. She's a Catholic. She's really wants to live out of, you know what I mean? She prays a lot for us and everything. And so basically, what I thought there was like, I think they come to you in dreams asking for prayer, bro, man, because I believe that once you're dead, you can't pray for yourself or nobody else, or pray for yourself, I think. So they come to you in dreams to help you out, or for you to help them out, you know, for prayers so they can advance into the, and that's where I kind of don't know much about. I mean, I've been studying stuff, but the next dimension, like all that stuff, or the purgatory, and then you go to heaven or hell. It's like I don't even want to get into that, but
I don't know if these guys are hanging up with their cheek or what, but we had another hang up. Okay, my apology. Hello, caller. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Oh man. Okay, caller, if you can call back and finish up your story. If not, then we're gonna move on. But that's like what, the second one? Okay, here we go. I think this is him. Caller, is this you?
Nah, it's the home to Kike from the city of Western View, bro.
Kike, ¿cómo estás? How are you?
Bien, güey. ¿Cómo? Bien, gracias a Dios.
So my question to you is this: Can we communicate with the dead? And if we could, would you want to?
It is a fact that we can communicate with the dead. Okay. I believe that it is also a fact that we communicate with the dead, but it's not the person that you think you're talking to. Okay. That's what the people that do believe that you can communicate with the dead agree with you on that part as well. So yes. Yeah. Communicating with I'm gonna just break it down to you like this real quick, bro. I believe that communicating with a dead is more of a, and I speak this from experience too. If you try to communicate with a dead, you're doing it more than for selfish reasons. Whether it be to tie loose ends, to close a chapter in your life. You know, sometimes people have sudden death. Sometimes people, let's say the patriarch passes away in your family and you never really had the chance to talk to them, which is, for example, in my case, I'm not saying that I try to communicate with the dead, but I would have loved to know
how far my lineage traces back. I mean, I can just track it down to 3 generations, including myself.
Right.
You know, it just so happened by coincidence that both my sides of the family were the patriarchs of the family were bastard children. They were children out of wedlock.
Hmm.
So and to top it off, my lineage traces back to a mining town. So if you don't know much about, you know, like tiny ranchos or pueblos where they mine for resources, it just tends to draw people from all parts of the country. So you can't really say, oh, my family's been here for 4 or 5, 6, 7 generations or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
They came from other places to look for employment, for sustenance for themselves and eventually for their families.
Yeah.
So I'm at a loss in that sense. But I strongly believe that having these like I said, these loose ends or these how can I say it? Like when you try to close off a chapter in your life and it just ends abruptly. I've had homeboys die, you know, and it just happens out of the blue, you know. That's just living the street life and shit. But you just have to find a different way to deal with it, because I've had my closest friend die to me, dog. Like I'm telling you, like over a decade ago, and it's something that still fucks with me to this day. But I don't have any closure on that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gone, and there's no way for me to ever find out, hey, dog, what were you going through? What happened? How it is exactly. I've heard some stories or some, ¿cómo se dice, güey? Como supuestamente esto pasó, lo otro pasó, pero at the end of the day, nobody really knows what happened.
Right, right. You know, no.
And that, sorry, go ahead.
I know you said that's bothered you for a long time. And let me just dare to ask the question that if you knew you can communicate just with him, would you want to?
Fuck, man. Yes and no. If it was 100% sure chance that I could talk to him, of course, you know. But if it's gonna be like that gamble that you can just, you know, open a portal, talk to somebody, and you don't know who's on the other end of that phone,
yeah.
Then like, challenge, dog. Like I'm not taking a fucking chance.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when you're going through a rough patch in life, and you tend to open yourself up to other entities that come into your life, but you don't know whether it's going to be beneficial or detrimental to your current state. You know.
Right.
Exactly.
I understand. I get it. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate you calling in and sharing that story with us, bro.
Yeah, gracias, Tony. Thank you for your time, man. You and the crew have the rest of a good night, man. Thank you.
You too, my
Keep
bro.
pushing.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's push it. We're going to take maybe 3 more phone calls if we can keep them under like 3-4 minutes. Okay. So right now is the time if you guys want to call in once again. And, you know, and I was double-minded about going over this topic, but it's something that I had been wanting to discuss and ask. But I'm thankful that you guys, the listeners, the viewers, you know, can actually call in and share your perspective on this. If it's possible, if it's not possible, you know, thank you for that. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
This is Danny. I'm calling from Santa Cruz.
How you doing, sir? So the question is...
I'm good. Yeah.
The question is, do you believe that we can communicate with the dead? And if we could, would you want to?
That's a really hard question, and I believe that there's brujos and people that dedicate to that, and maybe they can, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Yeah, I just got a quick story.
Yes, sir.
It's called the yard sale. So a friend gave me a Pepsi can collector of Michael Jackson, and I was having a yard sale, and I had it in the closet, and I pulled it out, and I was gonna sell it, and also had a radio, and I hooked up the radio, and they were playing music,
and all of a sudden they play Human Nature by Michael Jackson. And all of a sudden I look at the can on top of the table and it starts going around, bro. Like round and round, just spinning and moving. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I just got chills all over my body. And that's the story I wanted to share with you.
Okay.
So you asking me if I believe in the dead, bro? That was a dead person that I believe it was weird because they started playing his song, and then all of a sudden his can started moving, bro. And what I did, bro, I just got rid of that can.
Yeah.
Because it tripped me out. I'm out. I don't want that can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I understand exactly
and
what you mean.
that's my story. I wanted. You know what I mean, bro? I don't want that can, bro. I did a hole in it, and I pull out the Pepsi soda, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that can. I'm like, that was hella weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, I'm trying to sell something, and I'm trying to sell it, and they play Human Nature, and then the can just starts moving and spinning, bro. And I'm all like, whoa, that was some weird ass shit. And I just got rid of the can. And that was my story I wanted to share real quick.
Good, man. I thank you. And you know what? You did the right thing by getting rid of that. So I greatly appreciate you taking the time to call in and being a part of our show tonight.
And I really appreciate you taking my call and appreciate you having the Freaky Tales back again, bro, because I really enjoy it.
Thank you, my brother. And we'll be back again next week. We're going to try to keep it going.
And hopefully you get new callers, bro, instead of the same callers, bro.
Well, you know what's funny? And I'm glad you brought that up because the phone lines are open for anyone to call. And I just think a lot of these people, they're just either hesitant, nervous. I get people that DM me on Instagram and, oh, I was just so nervous. I was just so this. I tried texting you. Well, we don't accept text messages because I took off the texting off of this number. We just accept phone calls. So I think a lot of people tell me, oh, I text my story. Well, we don't get texts through this phone number. So, but yeah, you know, thank you for calling in, man. I greatly appreciate that.
Before we go, bro, I got another question real quick, Tony.
Yes.
Okay, there's a story I've been wanting to share, bro, because it's close to Halloween.
Yes.
And it's about a killer, a real story about a killer from a town close by Santa Cruz. And it's similar to Richard Ramirez.
Okay.
And it's about a guy that they're playing with the Ouija board. But I wanted to ask you a question, bro. You think if I say that story, I'll open up any portals or family members will be mad? That was the question I wanted to ask you.
I don't know about portals, about sharing a story. But I do believe that if some family members hear this, yes, I do believe that they could be upset if we didn't have their permission.
Okay, because it's about a guy that killed a bunch of girls, bro, like Richard Ramirez. And I wanted to share this story. It's a good story because it's close to Halloween and it's a real story, bro.
Well, I mean, next time, I'll tell you what, just call in next time. And if you have to change the names of the victims, if you know them, and you can give the name of the murderer, you know, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I'll even change the name of the city, if I could do that too.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. You have a good night.
You too. Appreciate you. Okay, we're going to take one last caller, then we're going to call it a night. Greatly appreciate you guys. We've been going on for at least an hour and a half now, so let's get one more phone call. And we'll go from there. Once again, I appreciate everybody being a part of the show tonight. Everybody in the live chat, I see you guys are having fun. Once again, the topic, I know it's a little heavy, and I know a lot of you guys want to call in. We had a bunch of missed calls, but now that the phone lines are open, nobody wants to call in. So what I'll do, I'm just going to go ahead and log off of this app, and if we get somebody, here we go. Caller, your name, or where are you calling from? You were our last caller.
Hi, Tony. Hold on. My name's Margarita, and I'm calling from Santa Maria.
How you doing?
Good. I just wanted to share a story.
That's fine.
In 1986, I lost my first husband, and I remarried 2 years later.
Sorry.
And one time, my second husband, we were laying in bed, and he woke me up. He told me to tell him to get off of him, to tell my first husband to get off of him. and he couldn't move. He was just like all stiff. He couldn't move, and he kept asking me to tell him to get off of it. And when I did, he moved.
Wow. So if I heard you correctly,
we talk about it now, and he says that my husband says that he still feels it.
That he still feels it?
Uh-huh.
Did he explain to you what was going on, what was happening when he felt this person on top of him?
It would be like he would be holding him with his knees over my husband's shoulder or something like that, or holding, like, like sitting over him with his hands on and his knees over his shoulder, something like that.
And your current husband was actually able to see him and identify who he was?
Yeah. And he won't let me pray over him either.
And why do you think he didn't allow you to pray for him?
I don't know. He's not open to that. He says, "Oh yeah, I believe there's God." And I said, "Well, the devil knows and believes in God, and he trembles at the name of Jesus." I said, "But he won't let me pray over him or anything."
And does he know you're calling in now and sharing this story?
I don't know. I don't know if he watches you.
Okay. Wow. That one kind of left me speechless. I've never heard a story like that, but you know what? Wow, all I could do is say thank you for being transparent and thank you for sharing that. We greatly appreciate that.
Thanks.
Okay, well, you know what?
Weird. Just pray.
I will
pray that he opens up some.
Yeah, I will say this, that while he's asleep, pray over him.
Okay.
That's what I would suggest. So, because I will say this, that absolutely no one is out of God's reach. So he can be reached.
That's right. Yeah.
So thank you and have a blessed night all the way out there in Santa Maria.
Okay, likewise. Have a good night and congratulations on your show.
Thank you. Good night. Okay, Alex, we're good. So once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. That one was a great way to close the show. I never heard a story like that. And wow, it was, I was lost for words on that one right there. And that's why, I like to ask a lot of detailed questions. So I don't try to interrupt someone. It's just a lot of times when the story is so intriguing, it's so different, I like to ask, certain questions. So a lot of times, please, if you're a caller, don't think that I'm trying to cut you off. I'll give you all the time you want. It's just that I have to ask specific detailed questions. So just like her current husband had to recognize who it was, her ex-husband. That was wild. So once again, Alex, any super chats or anything you want to share? Please go ahead and do it now if you can.
Okay. Zachary dropped $10. And then Zachary dropped another $5. He said, "Saludos from Chicago. Keep up the good work, Tony. Been listening to your shows for a month."
Thank you.
I put the 10 earlier, but I don't know how this works. I don't know what that means.
And what was his name again?
Zachary.
Zachary, thank you very, very much. I totally appreciate you.
Okay. Daisy 408 dropped $2. Do you believe in...
Is that the purgatory question?
Yeah.
Do I believe in purgatory? I will say this. And what was his name again?
Lazy 408.
Lazy 408. Lazy 408. I will say this, that when I was younger, before I started studying, before I started educating myself, I did believe in purgatory. I always believed in the idea of if you're good, outweighs the bad, you're going to heaven. If you're bad, outweighs the good, you're going to hell. And if the scales are straight, then you go into purgatory until someone prays you out. I used to believe that. And I always believed that my good will always outweigh the bad. I don't believe that anymore. And I know people do believe that, and I respect what you believe. I do. But please keep in mind that I used to believe that. I always tell people that if you have a question you want to ask me, you could DM me on my Instagram. Ask me for a number, and I will shoot you a number where you can call me, and we could talk, and I could tell you a little bit more in detail why I do not. Now, some people always say, well, it's in the Bible. Well, I'll be honest with you, it's not in the Bible. I've read all 27 books of the Old Testament, all 39 books of the Old Testament. So all 66 books together several times. I know people could say, well, you didn't read the Apocrypha. Well, the Apocrypha was part of the Old Testament, and they were never canonized because most people believe that they were never inspired by the Holy Spirit to be in the scriptures. I'm not saying don't read them. As a matter of fact, do read them. Your First, Second, Maccabees, it's all history. You can read them, okay? But the reason why King James never included them in the 1611 King James is because none of the apostles, none of the prophets, none of the disciples ever quoted from those books. So they believe that they weren't inspired, but they are history. So in the New Testament, there's one scripture that talks about paradise, and people often confuse that as purgatory. But I could break it down for you. If you reach out to me, speak to me, we'll have a good conversation. We'll open up the scriptures and we'll go from there. So other than that, anything else? Once again, thank you. Let me shout out my team. I want to thank Alex Cervantes Enterprise. I want to thank once again Norbert, News of Norbies. There's supposed to be a storm coming Sunday and Monday. Hopefully we're still able to do the show because they're acting like it's going to be crazy. I guess we'll find out. I want to thank my son, B. Scalanis, for helping me promote this and helping me get guests, and also the Hip Hop Jedi and our moderators, Magic Girl. I want to thank everybody on the live chat. I want to thank everybody that's comment, liked, subscribed, shared, and people that weren't on the live chat, and even people that didn't call in. Maybe you'll call in next time. So thank you. I think we have one more live chat. You want to share that? If not, I'll go ahead.
It says, do you believe in aliens?
Aliens. Do I believe in aliens? No, I do not believe in aliens. Again, that's another topic that it's hard for me just to say no, because some people want to argue with me. And I'm not saying you are, but some people say, well, why don't you believe? All the proof's out there. See, I'm like that too. You claim that there's all the proof, but the proof that I've seen is not proof at all. I always like to say, so your no proof is proof that aliens exist? Well, yeah. Didn't you see, somebody threw a hubcap up in the air, somebody took a Polaroid and said it was a UFO. I have to see that. Like, I really, really have to see that. I'm sick and tired of the whole Roswell, and it was a weather balloon. We have wreckage. The government is now coming out saying, the government can come out and say whatever they want until we, the people, see something. I'm not going to believe what they say. They've lied to us this whole time, and now all of a sudden we want to believe them because they say they have something. So until then, the jury's out, and expect the unexpected. Thank you. Much love from Tony the Wizard, Freaky Tales. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Take us away, Alex.